Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council, core contributors, and Ambassador Council. Let's get started. First up, another reminder about the election schedule. Voting opens tomorrow, September 5th. Nominations are already underway and will go through the end of the voting period, which concludes on September 15th. The Spartan Council election panel will take place next Wednesday, September 11th at 9 p.m. UTC. If you plan to run for Spartan Council, be sure to get your nomination in before then and message Proof of Cake on Discord to be included in the panel. Lastly, fill out the Google form linked in our blog where you can suggest questions for us to ask this epic's Spartan Council candidates at next week's panel. Now on to our regular updates. L1 Perps is on schedule for a mainnet release soon, and integrator outreach started last week to determine who will support Perps front-end and Vault functionality. The CCs are currently in discussion with Quenta regarding front-end details. As for the Arbitrum scale-up, multi-collateral Perps is live, but the CCs are just waiting for integrators to release the front end before raising the caps, which are currently at 0. The core contributors are also working on some additional back-end fixes to improve UX. Then multi-collateral Perps will be ready for a base launch as well. The mainnet release of the v3 migration is complete, and the UI is in review ahead of enabling a soft launch. Audits wrapped up last week with minor feedback items to be resolved, none of which would hold up the release. Once there's a working front end, which may be delivered within a week, the migration can then be open to all stakers. The next elected Spartan Council will need to decide how to get users to migrate to v3, either through incentives or forced migration. Once this migration happens, CCs will begin turning their focus towards a plan for getting Perps v3 on Optimism, as well as the associated migration from v2x. The Optimism integrators have already been made aware, and most are already working on their v3 integrations. Lastly, there was a SIP presentation last week, SIP 405 to temporarily distribute fees to v2 stakers, which was presented by Gene from SNX Maximalists. Let's review it. Following SIP 385 for the Perps v3 sharing model, fees will no longer be used to buy back and burn SNX. Instead, they will be sent to the Treasury Council for later use. This SIP proposes having the Treasury burn those fees in the form of SUSD, which would reduce debt for all stakers. Gene expects this would make staking more attractive than it currently is. And the idea is to keep this going until the protocol is fully migrated over to v3 and then maybe change course. But the primary distinction from the current track is to send those fees directly to stakers instead of the Treasury. It was decided after the presentation that this SIP should be put to a vote for the current Spartan Council. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.